Today's class. Before we start today's class, I just quickly want to tell you, over the weekend I have uploaded a few stuff for you on in the drive, and I've also um, uploaded some of the PowerPoints for you on there, the one that we did Friday. So you can, of course, go and look at the different types of opstellen as we discussed last week in class. Okay, so today we've got a full week. We're going to do the Skryfproces as we said here, and then I'm going to also, of course, um, do visual literacy with you guys, and we're also going to have a look at Stompy. So we are quite going to be busy this week. I hope that you are all here and ready for class today. All right, so usually I would like to just wait a minute or two for the rest of the kids to join. But I see they are joining one by one now. Okay, so good morning to Bule and JD as well. So let's then start with the skryfproces, the writing process as you know it. So we've done opstellen now. We know the different type of opstellen. And now, of course, we should know how to write these essays and where to start. And so we are going to start with that now. So let's quickly go to what we're going to do today. So ons gaan kyk na algemene terminologie en wenke, die 5 W's, struktuur, en dan gaan ons deur 'n rubriek gaan. That's a very important part that I would like to do with you guys today. So it's very important for you to see what you're getting marks for. So that you also know what to focus on when you write an essay. Ek sê hierso, die skryfproses is baie belangrik. As jy weet waar om te begin, gaan jy sommer vinnig skryfwerk geniet. Kom ons leer hoe om te skryf. So just in other words, guys, if you know where to start and where to start writing, of course, then you will understand it more and then you will enjoy writing more because it's not difficult. Right, then writing is the painting of the voice, written by Voltaire there. It's very important that you actually pay attention to this quote. Writing is the painting of the voice. So when we write and when we know how to write, then we can enjoy it. So yeah, let's start then with belangrike wenke. Important stuff for you to remember. So the first one there, when we write, it is important for us to plan. Beplanning is baie belangrik. Dit sal jou help om 'n idee te kry van wat jy wil skryf. So guys, in other words, if we plan, then we will be able to start the writing process and have an idea what we want to do. So we wouldn't feel lost, of course. Okay, so to remember to start planning. Lees jou vraag duidelik. Very often people just start writing, they haven't read their questions yet. So it's very important that you read through the entire question. Make sure that you understand it and know what is expected of you. Then, of course, besluit watter tema en tipe opstel jy gaan skryf. So for instance, are you writing a verhalende opstel, which is a narrative essay? En dan sê hulle hierso, en waaroor sê die opdrag moet jy skryf? So what type of essay and the theme of the essay is very important. Then of course, you must be able to decide for who you're going to write. So your target audience, in other words. Skryf jy vir tieners of ouer mense? Are you writing for older people or teenagers, or those adventure seekers, avontuurlustiges? Are you writing something that's got to do with news? And of course, ask yourself, hoekom jy die tema gekies het? Guys, that's an important part. If you choose a theme or a topic, it's important to ask yourself, why did I choose this? Is it because I've got lots of information to share? Is it because it's the easy way out, or what will your answer to that be? So very important. Ask yourself, why did I choose this topic, and make sure that you have enough to write about it. So target audience, purpose of the text, very important there. Then, guys, before you start anything that you write, listen to me. You need to plan. You can't just start writing your first draft or just writing anything. You must go ask yourself, why did I choose this topic? Okay, great. Can I now start with with the planning. So for instance, guys, when you start planning, you can use a kopkaart, a spinnekop diagram, of koolpunte. In other words, and I wrote the Ming map, but it's a mind map, sorry for that, a spider chart, and bullets. All right, very important. Okay, dink aan hoe lank die skryfstuk moet wees. Guys, I don't know if I used this example with you guys previous time, but before I did this, I was an Afrikaans home language teacher for grade 12 as well. In grade 12, they sometimes have to write essays of up to 450 words. So that's a lot of words. I don't think children that has Afrikaans FAL needs to write that amount of words, but as I said to you, you must understand your question very, very much before you start writing. So one of that aspects is to read your question. And in order for you to truly understand your question is to go and see what is expected of you in terms of the length of your essay. So is it 300 words or how many words will it be? You must go and check that. Gebruik die 5 W's in die H. We'll get to that now. And that is okay, so maybe you should just quickly take a picture of this. And then I've seen over the weekend that all the lessons I do is loaded on YouTube. So if you want to go back to a lesson, you can really go and visit that. Okay, guys, so there is the slide for you. I'm going to count till 5, then I'm going on to the next slide. Okay, so then let's start with this lesson. Let's go on with the lesson. Okay, things to remember when you do your lesson. After you've planned your lesson, it's very important then to write your first draft. So this is really important. So you've planned by means of a mind map or a spider chart or bullet points. Then from there, you start writing your first draft. When you've done with your first draft, then you are going to start editing, so redigeer. This means you read through the text and you see if there's something you would like to change, like a character's name, for instance, an event that took place, something like that. Then after that, you're going to start proeflesing. Okay, so I'm just going to read this here. Nadat jy geredigeer het, is dit belangrik om jou werk te proeflees, which means proofreading. Wanneer jy proeflees, kyk jy na taal, spelling, lees, skryftekens en sinskonstruksies. Guys, important. So, redigeer, there's a difference between editing and proofreading. Editing means you're going to edit stuff like, as I said, the characters' names, events that take place, or something like that. But then proofreading means you're looking at language aspects. So is my paragraphs right? Is there one idea per paragraph and then stuff that goes around that one idea in a paragraph? Is my paragraph's length, for instance, all the same or does it differ, which is the correct one? Is all the language used correctly? Do I have a nice vocabulary? Is there interesting stuff like idioms or something like that? Is my spelling correct? Do I use proper punctuation? And is my sentences not too long or too short? Is it written correctly? Do they all start with a capital letter, for instance? And then, guys, write neatly and concise. Netjies en leesbaar. Guys, remember what I said last week. When I get a pack of essays and they say 300 essays, I don't want to struggle and see what you've written there. Or I know that we are not all blessed with the proper or nice handwriting. I understand that. But always try your best to write neatly and concise. Right. Let altyd op woordkeuses. Gebruik jy kreatiewe taalgebruik waar dit vereis word? Sorry, do you use creative taalgebruik? Guys, in other words, do I have proper vocabulary? Is it interesting that I've written? And then, very important, navorsing is belangrik vir enige skryfstuk. Guys, so take a picture of this. Always do research if you are able to do research. All right, so let's go on to the next one. Now, guys, when you start your essay, you've now read your question, you made sure you understand it. Now we're going to the first step of planning, which is then the 5 W's and H. Remember that you can do this by means of a spider chart or a mind map. So look at this example, or not example. The first step is to identify who or wie die opstel oor gaan. So now you're starting there, you've got an empty page in front of you, you draw the mind map. The very first thing you have to answer is wie of who. In other words, hier moet jy identifiseer oor wie jy gaan skryf. Now you must identify of who you're going to write about. Maar het hoeft nie altyd 'n mens te wees nie. It doesn't have to be a person every time. You can write about something as well. Now, wat of what? That's the second bullet there. Wat en wie? Wat het wie gedoen en tegekom? Look what I'm saying here. Wat het daai persoon, what did the who do or see? What did he or she encountered? Wat gaan gebeur? So here you're going to write what's going to happen. Then waar of where is this happening? Op watter plek het dit gebeur of plaasgevind? Did it happen in a dorp or a town, a city? And then waarom of why? Wat is die rede of doel waarom jy die teks skryf? Is dit vir nuuskierigheid? Gee jy inligting weer? Is dit nuus? So in other words, why are you writing this text? Is it because you want to enlighten people? Is it something that's going to make you nosy? Is it there to give information? Is it a news piece? Take a picture of this quickly. Then we're going on. Okay, now for the next slide. Then then we're going to do the hoekom of why. Now it's very much the same as the waarom that we did, but here you're going to ask, why did this take place? Why did the events take place? So let's quickly go back. Waarom, you have to identify the doel van die teks. And here you say nuuskierigheid of inligting weergegee. So waarom het ek die teks geskryf? Hoekom het dit plaasgevind? You see there's a difference. Hoekom het dit plaasgevind? Why did the events occur, or what happened? And this is something, for instance, that I've written here that you can plan by means of a kopkaart, a mind map. Right, you can take a picture of this slide quickly, and then we'll go on to the next. Okay, then let's go on. Guys, so now that you've maybe, well, not maybe, you had to plan. Now that you've planned by means of a mind map or a spider chart and so on, now you're going to start writing. But a very important aspect of any written piece, whether it is an essay or a short transactional text, for instance, like a letter or something, it is important for you to look at the structure of the essay that you're writing. So for this lesson, we're going to focus on essay structure. So later this year, we'll look at other text structure, but for the purpose of this lesson, let's focus on opstellen. 'n Opstel behoort gestruktureerd or structured te wees. Very important. Any essay should be structured. Onthou altyd 'n titel. Guys, I can't emphasize this enough. A mistake many people make is when they write, when they've got their paper 3 in front of them, for instance, they use the question as the title. No, you must create your own title. That's part of the creative process. And then, guys, always remember paragraphs. In my 8 years of teaching, I've seen many essays, especially with high school students, where they write one entire paragraph. That's the entire essay, is one big paragraph. And then they forget punctuation sometimes, and it's just one long sentence. So guys, no. Write an essay properly structured with its own title and paragraphs. Remember that paragraphs should differ in length. Okay, but we'll get to that. So proper paragraphs used with all the punctuation that is required. All right, take a picture. Okay, then we go to the next slide. All right, guys, part of the structure, now that we've read the question, we've planned it now, and we've also written a title, now we're going to look at our introduction paragraph. This is the most important part of the essay because it has to grab the reader's attention. So the most important part and must grab the attention of the reader. En the norm is, die norm is dat die inleiding nie langer as 5 sinne behoort te wees nie. It should not be more than 5 sentences. So that's the norm. Guys, if there's more than 5 sentences, or if your introduction is too long, then very often you've started writing the story in the introduction, which is wrong. So guys, not more than 5 sentences, and remember to make it attention grabbing. And then my second or my third point there, vir my, avoid using phrases like eendag lank gelede, or starting your essay with ek, or with toe, or with en. Of, this one, ek wil julle graag vertel. Never ever start an essay with one of these phrases or words here. It is not about, you're not writing a fairy tale necessarily, and for grade 9s, these are not the type of ways you start an essay. All right, I'm going to give you a moment there to take a picture of this slide as well. Okay, then we're moving on. Now that we've written the title and we've written the introductory paragraph, we're going to look at the body of the essay. And here I've written it again. So that's why I say I can't emphasize this enough. Een idee per paragraaf. One idea per paragraph. And this is an important part. Elke paragraaf het 'n hoofgedagte en dan gedagtes of idees wat die hoofgedagte ondersteun. In English, each paragraph has a main idea and then thoughts or ideas that support the main idea. So guys, remember I said one idea per paragraph, but remember it's one idea and then you are describing that one idea. So there will be a sort of supporting thought around that one idea. And then paragrawe moet verskillende lengtes wees. Paragraphs must be different lengths. Die idees moet logies opbou, logical ideas building on each other, and avoid long sentences, vermy lang sinne. And then of course, let op lees en skryfteken gebruik, guys. Very important. Punctuation is key in any essay. You cannot write sentences and it doesn't start with a capital letter. You should always use your full stops and so on and so forth. Commas, very important, guys. So there, let's just recap. One idea per paragraph. Each paragraph will have then one idea with supporting ideas that helps the main idea. Then, of course, it must have different lengths, and then avoid having long sentences or inconcise sentences. Remember to write a logical essay building on each other, the ideas, and then lees en skryfteken gebruik is very important. Okay, guys, now after you've written your essay, now you want to write your closing paragraph, or in Afrikaans jou slot. And I've written there, dit moet aandag trek. It should be grabbing my attention yet again. Samevatting, you must summarize your ideas there. So what everything must come together. And moet nie nuwe inligting in die paragraaf sit nie. No new information should be added. The slot paragraph is there to take everything together. So that's a very important thing for you to remember. You are allowed now to take a picture. Okay, so let's go on. All right, now here. I have a little chart that I got from a very nice studiegids, and it's going to tell us again how the essay should look. So opstel, there's three stuff: the introduction, the body, and the slot or the ending. And here they say, with the inleiding, die inleiding moet dadelik die aandag van die leser trek. Now, I don't know if you remember, when we did the different types of essays, we had an idea of how the introduction should be. We want the reader to want to go and read the essay. So write your introduction by such a way that the reader attention is grabbed and they want to read your essay. They are now nosy and happy to read an essay. Also, kort en bondig, which means a short introduction, very strongly written. Then jou liggaam, die liggaam bevat die res van die inhoud. So that is where everything is going to be written. All the encounterments and everything is given. Die inhoud word saamgestel uit verskillende paragrawe, so different paragraphs. Elkeen met sy eie hoofgedagte en ondersteunende gedagtes. So every little paragraph with its main idea and then ideas that goes around that main idea. And then of course the slot, die slot rond 'n opstel bevredigend af. Dit bind alle gedagtes saam en moet op een of ander manier by die inleiding aansluit. That is an important part that wasn't mentioned before. So remember now firstly, your slot or your ending must have a conclusion at the end. So it's almost like you're satisfying your reader at the end, or you're giving them closure on what happened. But then at some stage, in some way, it should also be linked to the introduction. So remember, your introduction and your ending, your closing argument, sort of works together. All right, and now, of course, the next one. We talk here about navorsing. So when you're writing an essay, here is hierdie oulike artikel. There's an article on News 24 that Marlies Swanepoel, one of the best people that I know in Afrikaans EIT, has written, and she's given us here an example of a mind map. So I'm just going back to that, a mind map. Ons gebruik hierdie veral by verhalende opstelle. So you take your hand and you draw the form of your hand, and then you start there. She's written there two kort ideas: the who in the essay, the when is it taking place, um, um, waar gebeur dit, wat gebeur en hoekom dit gebeur. Remember, with hoekom and waarom, it's the very same thing actually, but hoekom, we're going to ask ourselves, why are we writing this? Why is it happening, the event? And then she said hier, gebruik sleutelwoorde om te beplan voordat jy jou eerste paragraaf beskryf. Remember, when you're planning like this in a mind map or a spider chart, you're not actually going to write, for instance, you're not actually going to write your essay in this five-fingered thing. You're actually just giving main ideas. So remember, she said here, two short ideas. So write two short stuff underneath each of that things, which will then help you to plan. Very important. You must take a picture of this one. So usually used in narrative essays, but you can also apply that to other essays. Okay, guys, we're actually going through this lesson very quickly. And then again, another article on Marlies Swanepoel. This is an example of a spider chart, and look how interesting you can do this, guys. You can, this is where you use your senses, for instance, you know, smelling and seeing and hearing and touching and tasting. So you can go and take pictures from a magazine and then paste it like this, a very creative way of planning your essay. And this is usually used in beskrywende opstelle, descriptive essays, because here you're going to have to write, what are you smelling, what are you seeing, what are you hearing, what are you feeling, what are you tasting. So take a picture of this. I think this is almost like a spider chart. So there you go. Please take a picture of this. Okay. And then the next slide is your rubric. Guys, this is important. I know that when you get an essay, a question, and you see it counts 50 marks, for instance, you feel a bit intimidated and you feel worried because now all of a sudden you've got 50 marks that you have to start writing for. And as I said earlier, that for me, for instance, I'm an Afrikaans speaking person, I think you can hear it. And when I was at school and I had an essay and it had to be written in English, which is not my first language, I was always stressed because my vocabulary was not that well in English as well. So um, you see on the rubric it counts 50 marks, and now you get worried because, yo, where am I going to get 50 marks of words for words and everything that I have to write? So this is an example of a rubric that is used when you write an opstel for 15 marks. I don't know if it's the newest one, but it's usually very much the same. And I want to go through everything with you. So there is 6 codes. If you have 0 to 29%, it means that it didn't go so well. 30 to 39% means you had the basics okay. Then 40 to 49 percent is, guys, it's all right. It's code 3. Voldoende means that okay, you've done enough, beduidend, a bit more, verdienstlik, good, uitmuntend, excellent essay. So look there, that is the percentages of what you could get with regards to the code. Then here's the marks, guys. So for instance, 0 to 9.5 would be code 1. And then 19.5 to 22 would be between 60 and 69% that you have for the essay, and so on and so forth. But this is where I want to get. When we talk about inhoud and beplanning, you get 32 marks that you can get for inhoud and beplanning. And that is why it's important for you to go and plan properly and then write your essay in a structured matter. Of a structured matter. So look here, I'm going to do the first ones here because and then the last ones. So when you have an excellent essay for 32 marks, then you can get between 26 and 32 marks for this aspect. And they say here, the inhoud beïndruk die leser met skerp insig in die onderwerp. In other words, the content has impressed the reader and that you've got and it shows that you've got insight in the topic. Die idees is uitdagend en volwasse. So it's almost like you've got a grown-up look, a look on the stuff that's happening. And then beplanning en of eerste poging lei tot 'n feitelike, foutlose, gepaste opstel. This is basically saying because you planned and you've written your first draft and you fixed everything, you edited and you read it, now I can see that it's a proper essay that you've written. And here, oh, you don't want to be here. This is when you haven't read your question properly and your inhoud is nie ter sake nie. So in other words, there is no proper structure. The reader doesn't go, oh, know what happened here. You are repeating yourself a lot and you didn't plan properly. So guys, in between is fine. I wouldn't say you should be under code 3. Okay, so try your best when it comes to planning and your body of your essay to never be writing an essay that goes beyond code 3. Try always for code 4 to 7. And if you can, and I'm sure you all can, go for a code 7. All right, this is important. The second one, taal, style en redigering. Guys, the first one again, toon kritische taalbewustheid, which means you know this language very well. For the purpose of this essay, you have really done, you went through a lot of effort to fix all the punctuation and language aspects. Effektiewe gebruik van taal en punctuasie, gebruik figuurlike taal. So guys, you have proper punctuation, you've used the language skills that you have encountered or learned properly. You've got proper vocabulary, woordkeuse is hoogs toepaslik en uitmuntend. You've used vocabulary correctly, you've used it in such a way that you know it fits or it suits the essay. Styl, toon en register is hoogs belangrik. This writing style, the way in which you presented it in your register is fit. And then die opstel is feitelik foutloos na proeflees en redigering. This is why I say always edit and proofread your essays, guys. This is where you get the marks from. For 12 marks, you can actually see when somebody has edited and proofread their essay. Important, guys. And then here, you don't want to be here, as I said. This person didn't give proper attention to language. They lack punctuation. They lack vocabulary. They haven't even tried. The whole style of the essay and register is wrong. And then even this person didn't even proofread because everything the edit it hasn't been edited. The proofread is horrible, guys. So there you go. You never want to be under code 3 here. I would always go for a code 4 to a code 7. Okay. And guys, that's just what I would aim for. At least always aim for the best, because you can be the best. And then this aspect is important, guys. Structure for 6 marks. This is where I'm coming in and I'm saying title, introduction, body, and ending of the essay, die slot. So again, with the fantastic one, 80 to 100%, die ontwikkeling van die onderwerp is samehangend met verbeeldingryke detail, which means the essay builds on a logical matter, and it leaves the reader to think about what has been written, and it's very creatively written. Then they say here, sinne en paragrawe is samehangend saamgestel. So the sentences follow on each other. It is written in proper language. The entire essay makes sense. Die lengte is ooreenstemmig met vereistes. Daai laaste een. Die lengte is ooreenstemmig met vereistes, which means the questions, for instance, ask that you must write an essay of 300 words. You have taken that into account. You've written an essay of 300 words. It isn't too less. It isn't too much over the 300. So that, children, is a rubric. Can I have just an indication of if you're all with me and if you all understand the rubric more or less? I would really recommend, guys, that before you even start writing an essay, go and look at the rubric. Go and look at if you understand the question. So let me just see. I want to see yeses again. How are you guys doing this morning? Are you fine? Okay, so Kelly and Max said yes, ma'am, and the rest of you, are you all with me? Please take a picture of this. I think what I actually should have done is maybe written a few notes here for you guys to understand. So maybe I'll just go and look. Let me write that down. I think I'm going to just take a rubric and then perhaps just see if I can explain it to you in English here and there on the rubric. So yeah, let me do that. Okay. So I only had 2 responses. So then I gather that you are all okay. And now we are going to play a little bit. So I would like you guys to look at the pictures here. And then I would like a volunteer or 2 to write a title and just an introductory paragraph. Let's say 3 sentences of each of these pictures. You can choose a picture, write a title, and write an introductory paragraph. Type it for me, or you are more than welcome to ask the host to just unmute you and then you can say it to us. So try then in Afrikaans to write a titel and an inleidingsparagraaf. Guys, even if it's just 3 sentences. And it can be any type of essay, narrative or descriptive or argumentative. look at the 3 pictures and let's see. I'm going to ask maybe Bule and JD, and then my 2 participants today, Max and Kelly, see if you can give us a lekker example here. There's no right or wrong here. You have listened now, so I'm sure you know what to expect or what is expected of you. I'm gonna give 5 minutes and then I would love to see something typed in there. Please, guys, participate. This is a very nice one. Okay, you're all doing well. So the first one there, oh, look at that. Almost like it's telling us about what we are doing to this earth. Then a traveling picture and then a group of friends. Choose one. Give me a title and an introductory paragraph. And then you can either type it in the chat box or write it down and read it to us. Okay, I've written mine. So let's see, does anyone have something to share with us there? So you have had about 4 minutes now. So let's see, does anyone want to share their idea here? Just an introductory paragraph and a title. Kelly, Max, guys, Raiden. I'm starting to get to know my kids now in the lesson, so I would love to see just a bit of participation here. Don't worry if you're struggling with Afrikaans, with the language and so. There's no room for judgment here. I just want you guys to take a chance and to write something, even if you have to use an English word here and there, it is fine. That's why you have a dictionary when you're writing a proper essay for marks. All right, let's see. Anyone? Anyone? Okay, so there we have Max that said die wêreld. Let's see, this is interesting. Die wêreld is 'n mooi plek. Daar is baie lekker dinge om te doen en plekke te gaan. Ek probeer. That is a very nice one. So then you've immediately intrigued the reader here. You're writing not only about something, you're writing about the entire world, and you are writing and you're saying there, he's saying that the world is a beautiful place. There was nice things to do, and that he has tried to visit all these places. Thank you, Max. That is a very, very good example there. Anyone else? Well done, Max. Thanks. That's really good. Anyone else that maybe wants to try? Let's see. Raiden or Kelly? What do you say, guys? I'll quickly read you my example. So I said wilde woeste reis, which is my title, and ek sê om te reis was nog altyd 'n droom van my. Om verskillende tale en kulture en mense te ervaar. Dis nie net 'n droom gewees nie, maar 'n moed. Min het ek geweet hierdie ervarings sou my lewe verander. And then I used a ... there. So, then it's almost connecting with the title there. Wilde woeste reis. Okay, guys, is there anyone that would like to share? We've only got 3 minutes left. Anyone that would maybe like to share? I'm going to give another minute. Thank you, Max, for participating. All right, guys, so that is then it for today's lesson. Thank you so much for participating, Max. And there, of course, everything that I've done with you the last 2 weeks is on that Google Drive link there. There is a link for you to go and study about extra essays, and then there is my email address. And then, sorry, I just saw here's an example here. Impak van aardverwarming, Kelly. Die mooi blou lig en die grasgroen bome in die bos word doodgemaak as gevolg van aardverwarming. Help ons maak die wêreld 'n beter plek. I tried, ma'am. Kelly, this is a good example, and I actually love that you used intensive forms such as grasgroen en mooi blou lig. It's very good, your descriptive here. Okay, that's very, very good. Well done to you and Max for trying this hard today. I really appreciate it, guys. Now, sanitize your hands, put up your mask, take care, have some coffee. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye, guys. Thanks for today.